If you've ever Googled how to calculate percentages in Excel, you're definitely not alone. Turns out most of us learn percentages in school, but totally freeze when Excel gets involved. So in this video, we're skipping all the complicated stuff. I'm going to show you easy Excel percentage hacks that you'll actually remember and can use at work today. Plus, there's an example file and reference sheet you can download from the video description. Okay, let's go. We'll start with percentage fundamentals everyone should know. First up, percentage change. Let's say your boss gives you a table showing this year's sales and last year's sales and casually asks, hey, what's the percentage change? The formula you need is super simple. It's the new number divided by the old number minus 1. And because Excel evaluates division before subtraction, we don't need to use any parentheses here. And we get 25%. And that's it. Just remember, you're comparing the most recent year to the previous, so the new number goes on top. It's the numerator. That said, if your values cross zero, for example from loss to profit or vice versa, this formula will give you misleading results. And I'll cover a way to avoid this later in the video, so stay tuned. Next up, let's tackle another super common scenario, increasing or decreasing prices. This time your manager drops by your desk and says, Trump has just imposed tariffs on our exports. We need to increase all our prices by 20%. Can you quickly update that spreadsheet? The formula is easy. It's the original price times, open parentheses, 1 plus the percentage increase, close parentheses, we get 120. In other words, we're multiplying the original price by 120% because 1 is the same as 100%, so 1 plus the increase of 20% is the same as 100% plus 20%. The next day your manager says, we can't pass on the full tariff to our customers, so let's take 10% off. No problem. The formula is your current price times 1 minus the discount or decrease, and we get 108. So to be clear, here we're multiplying the price by 90%. That is 100% minus the 10% discount. Notice we're not reducing the original base price by 10%. That would take us back to 110. Instead, we're reducing the new $120 price by 10%, which gives us 108. The last situation that covers the fundamentals. Your company recently decreased prices by 20%, so a product now costs $80. Your boss wants to know the price before the discount. The calculation is simply the new price divided by, open parentheses, 1 minus the decrease, close parentheses, and we can see the price before the discount was $100. Flip the scenario. Prices went up 10%, and now you need to work backwards. Or maybe you're in charge of sales tax returns and you need to calculate the before tax price. Both scenarios are calculated the same way, so let's use the sales tax scenario. But keep in mind that this trick works for reversing any percentage increase, whether it's tax, a markup, or price inflation. The easiest way to think of it is that the price including tax at a rate of 10% is effectively the pre-tax price multiplied by 110%, and we're getting 110% by adding 1 to whatever the tax rate or increase was. So all we need to do is divide the gross price by 1 plus the tax rate. That's going to give us 110% in this case, to get the pre-tax price of $100. Next, you need to calculate the tax amount included in the price so you can pass it on to your tax department. Of course, you could simply take the price including tax minus the net price, but that's 2 steps. So let's look at how you can calculate the tax amount directly from the gross price. For this, we take the gross price divided by, and we need to open 2 parentheses. The first component is 1 plus the tax rate, close parentheses, divided by the tax rate, and close parentheses on our denominator, and you can see we find the amount of $10. Or you can flip it. Gross price times tax rate divided by 1 plus the tax rate gives the same result. Okay, both of those formulas are a bit of a handful, and thankfully if your tax rate is fixed, a shortcut is to pre-calculate the divisor and memorize it. Taking the calculation above, we can see the divisor component is 1 plus the tax rate divided by the tax rate. For example, here in Australia, our sales tax or GST is 10%. So if I take 1 plus the tax rate divided by the tax rate, I get 11. And if your tax rate's different where you are, you can use the same formula to find your divisor. So for me, now to get the sales tax amount included in any price, I simply divide the price. Let's just test 110 to check it works by 11 and we get 10. Let's try another one, 220 divided by 11 and we get 20. Once you've used this calculation a few times, you'll never forget it. Before we cover the common mistakes, if you want to avoid making mistakes in Excel altogether and really take your Excel skills to the next level, I highly recommend checking out my Excel Expert course. It's specifically designed to help you confidently master advanced Excel tools, build robust spreadsheets, and automate complex tasks. You'll finally know exactly how to choose the right formulas, avoid costly errors while creating professional-looking reports with ease. Plus, you get direct access to expert guidance, practical exercises, and clear step-by-step video lessons. Perfect if you want to stop relying on Google for every Excel question. If that sounds helpful, you can check out the course details and enroll from the link in the description below or pinned comment. Now let's clear up some classic percentage mistakes, the ones that trip up even advanced users. The first one is mixing up markup and margin. Don't worry, I've made this mistake before too, so let's look at some tricks we can use to remember them. The first one is the mnemonic. Markup is on the cost, margin is on the sale. That is, markup is how much you mark up the cost, calculated by taking the selling price minus the cost, divided by the cost, and margin is what's left over in the sale, calculated by taking the selling price minus cost, divided by selling price. Notice the only difference between these two formulas is markup's divisor is cost and margin's divisor is price. Personally, I find it easier to remember that margin is short for profit margin, which also relates to sales. Therefore, selling price must be the denominator for margin, which leaves cost as the denominator for markup. If we look at some examples, here I can calculate the markup by taking the price minus the cost divided by the cost, and we get 25%. And to calculate the margin, we take price minus cost divided by price to get 20%. Practice it a few times to help it stick in your memory. Let's keep going. Now you're reporting monthly accounts and you need to explain the variance to budget. First, you need to remember that the variance for revenue is calculated by taking the actual minus the budget, whereas for expenses, it's budget minus the actual. We can then take the variance divided by the budget to get our variance percent, and we can copy that down. However, if your budgeted figure is negative, whether it's a loss or a refund of expenses like it is here, the percentage variance can flip the meaning, making a worse result look better or the other way round. And we can see here we're expecting to get a $200 refund on some expenses, but we only received $100. We're $100 worse off, but the variance is positive. To avoid misleading results, you should always wrap the denominator in the absolute function. That gets rid of the negative sign, and we then get the correct variance. And you can copy this and use it for all calculations, and you can see it returns the correct result in every instance. Here's another big one. Calculating percentage growth when last year's value was 0. When you use our usual percentage change formula, new number divided by old number minus 1, Excel gives you the div0 error because you're trying to divide by 0. A lot of people assume going from 0 to, say, 500 is a 100% increase, but percentage growth from 0 is undefined, not 100%. A simple solution, instead of showing an error or confusing result, is to use the if error function to return an explanation. Equals if error, take sales this year, remember new number divided by old number minus 1, comma, and then if it's an error, we can return an explanation. For example, no prior year sales, close parentheses, and we get the text returned. This way, anyone reading your spreadsheet immediately understands what's going on without confusion. Calculating year-on-year percentage change when values cross 0, from, say, loss to profit or vice versa, is a classic challenge. Using the percentage change formula from earlier, which is this year minus last year, divided by last year, or this year divided by last year minus 1, returns a negative change. But we've gone from a loss last year to a profit this year, which is a positive change. So we can allow for this by always dividing the absolute value of the base year. So going back to the this year minus last year, divided by the absolute of last year, close parentheses, we now get the correct result. And to make it even better, let's wrap it in if error in case we come across zeros. I need to add another parentheses at the front, comma, the message is no prior year sales. Close double quotes, close parentheses, and now we've handled every possible scenario, avoiding both misleading signs when transitioning from losses to profits and changes from zero. Now, if you like these percentage tricks, I've got something else you'll definitely love. I made a video showing how to automate your spreadsheets even further, making them practically self-updating. I'm talking automatic data updates, dynamic charts, and even reports that write themselves. Pretty neat, right? Check it out right here on the screen. It'll seriously upgrade your Excel game. Thanks for watching. I'll see you there.